Hey friends, it's Amber with Amber Marie and Company, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we are going to be decorating our crystal frost tree, and I'm going to show you step by step all of the things and how we are going to make this tree look like an absolute winter wonderland, just kissed by Jack Frost. This is going to be the most beautiful tree. Now, I saw this tree done several times at market. Basically what they did was use beautiful glass and crystal with a mixture of green. So we're going to show you how to bring in some natural textures in this big, beautiful, full tree, along with some sparkle and shine, of course. So before we get too deep into it though, hit that subscribe button because we would love for you to follow along and share all of the wonderful things that we have in store this Christmas season. We have the manor coming up, so we're gonna have tours of that and all of these beautiful trees here. So I'm standing inside of our Utica Square location. We're decorating it for Christmas right now, and we're gonna be moving on to our 91st and Yale location here in Tulsa next week to get all things decked out for Christmas. And I know one of the biggest questions we get all the time are asking how we decorate a tree or how we decide what's going on the tree. So I'm going to talk about all of those things today in this video, and stick around to the end because you're going to want to see this beautiful full tree completed. So our tree that we're decorating is this beautiful 10-foot aspen snow tip pine tree. And I love this tree in particular because it's just, this is the same tree that we use at my mom's house, and it just has the flocking on the outside tip. So if you look in, it's green inside, only flocked on the outside, so that makes less mess. Now, first and foremost, I have to tell you, we have used the diamond cascade lights on this tree already, and so you will see that sparkle and that twinkle right here on all of these. And we actually used 3 8-foot strands on this. We took the bottom section, and as we fluffed the bottom section, we put our cascade lights right in the middle. If you can see right down in there, there's the ring. And then we spread all of those lights out. Then we did that again right here on this level. You can see the ring inside there. Spread all of those lights out, and then again at the very, very tip. And Ben right now is securing our beautiful lit branches inside of this tree. So we're going to do kind of a series of 3 of these lighted branches, and we're going to hang all kinds of crystals and beautiful ornaments off of this. We're starting with a small on top, and then we're kind of like making a little triangle pattern. We're going to do another one over here, and then another one down here. So we're kind of doing a little scattered pattern where people will be able to walk around the tree and see all of the beautiful ornaments, so they're not going to be in their way, but yet it kind of gives that idea that we have this real beautiful branch. Everybody loves this tree, not even decorated. It just looks beautiful because it's so full and so lush, and the branches are just nice and thick. So if you love a tree, my mom does this tree at her house, and she does all Radco ornaments, and it looks absolutely fabulous. So we're deciding where our next lighted branch. Now this is the larger size. Look how big that is, and it's full of lights. That is amazing. This is a great branch. You could use this outside in a pot if you wanted to have a little short faux tree, but we love them because these little branches are great to stick into the tree. So we're going to put it in there, and we're going to secure it to the tree by what, zip tying?
Yes, and then using some of the branches to just make sure it's extra tight so it doesn't move.
So as he's putting that in there, he's securing some of the branches just like this by wrapping the tree around, and that's just going to ensure that those branches exactly stay where we want them to be. So lots of manipulation here just to make sure that the tree, yes, look at that. And these are pretty good and sturdy enough that you could have really light crystals hanging off of this. So Ben and I just made a decision, since this tree is so big and so thick, we're actually going to use 4. We're going to go with 3 at first, but we're going to put one in on this side, and then we're going to put another one right down here on this side too, because we want it to look very natural, like these branches just growing right out of the tree. So, you know, it's not done till it's overdone. That's our motto. So more is definitely more. We've placed all of our lit branches. I think they look beautiful. A little bit of a brown with snowy and then the lights on the tips. This is the iced cedar teardrop. I love it. It's like 32 inches, but look at this. Isn't that beautiful? All of those little crystals. So this is the crystal frost tree. I want to have lots of variations of green. This tree is going to have ice, crystal, frost, and the main color component is going to be green. So I'm going to go in on the tree and I'm going to start placing these just coming out like it's just growing out of the tree. And I'm going to take each one of these and I'm just going to bend it just slightly so it kind of cascades out of the tree, just like this. So that's my next step. I'm going to go ahead and start placing these right now. And of course, I don't want to place them where I have my branches and twigs. I'm actually going to want to place those kind of on the side. So I've got a twig branch right down here, so it's cascading out. And then I'm also going to take and I'm going to use the branches of my tree to secure that in there. So it just cascades. And I'm just going to replicate kind of in a triangle pattern going up my tree, and I'm placing all of these first. The most important thing when you're placing anything in your tree, or you're putting any of these anywhere in your house, is to make sure that you fluff. So you're going to pull those branches apart and just fluff them up like this so they have air and space underneath of them, because that's what makes it look like it's truly growing and it's not flat. All right, we want it, think about it like we're teasing our hair. We want to put some lift in there. So I'm just going to take a look at my tree here. Again, I don't want to be around any of the twig branches, but in between where I have the twig branches. So I've got a branch right here in between two twigs. I'm just going to put that in there, and I'm going to come in here real close and just take two branches here and give it a little twist. Okay, and then I want that to kind of cascade down just a little bit, so I'm going to bend that out and down. I'm just going to keep doing that in the pattern around the tree until it looks nice and full. Now, when you're thinking about decorating your tree, you want to think about different colors, different textures. And on this tree, since our main component is the idea is that it's fresh and crystal and icy, we're going to use obviously a lot of whites, clears, and the main colorway on this tree is going to be green. So I have green bulbs, and I also have green stems, and I'm going to come in at the end with beautiful green ribbon that's just absolutely stunning. And that's how I'm going to add my color to this tree. Now, if you watched our trends video, you'll see that I showed in that video there were several trees at market that had the white icy, but they came in with the green. And what's nice about that is if you've collected the clear, all of the ice ornaments, all of the crystal ornaments, and this year you just want to throw a pop of color in, that's what we're doing here with adding the green. So it's a great way to expand your budget of things that you've already done, but bring in something new. This tree would also look beautiful if you just put touches of blue in it as well. And it could be like a blue and white frosted tree. I know you're going to think I say this all the time on every one of our videos, but it truly does make a difference, the quality of florals and stems that you use, because a little bit goes a long ways. For example, this branch right here, it's $32, but it really fills this tree really, really nicely because it's just has a lot of coverage. So when you're thinking about the items that you're wanting to put in your tree, you have to think about, you know, you might be able to buy, I mean, how many $8.99s or $6.99s do you have to purchase to get the fullness and the effect of this big, beautiful cedar bush? So it's a lot. So you get a lot of bang for your buck sometimes when you put in sprays like this, because it takes up a lot more room in your tree and you have to actually buy less. We've gone through now with all of our really pretty cedar, and I'm just going to fluff a couple of these. We'll be using these kind of throughout. Maybe when I start to add in the florals, just to add a little bit of fullness behind it. If you think about how big this pick is versus how big this is, this gives you so much coverage, and it takes a lot more of these little picks. Now, these little picks are important on your tree because of course it adds a different dimension, adds a different leaf to it, and also a different amount of snow and texture. And so these are important too, to bring out a little bit of a cascading snowy look. but it's just kind of a comparison of how many of these it would take to make the impact on your tree that this beautiful cedar spray makes. I have these beautiful ferns that are snowy ferns, and we're going to just place these in. I have a few holes where I kind of feel like these should go, and I don't have a lot of these ferns to use, but it's okay. I don't need a whole lot, but I'm going to place them in here, kind of in the back, just a little bit. I don't want to put them too far in because I want people to be able to see them still growing, but it's just a very fun, beautiful, full frosted fern. And I love that look because it gives the effect of almost like a springtime fern, but covered in frost and snow. So it's just very lush, very green, and very realistic. All right, filling in the back side here just a little bit. Make sure I don't leave that out. And then you can always take those diamond cascade lights and kind of come in afterwards and add a little bit more light even to that green, just by replacing those and moving them around. This tree is all about adding different textures and looks. This is a snowy Norfolk pine branch, and I'm going to add this in because look at the drape that gives. So it's a real pretty cascade, and it also adds another texture to our tree. So I'm going to stick that back in there pretty good. And I want that to cascade down, but I want to secure it in place also with our Christmas tree branches. So look, I just take that. I'm just going to give it just a little twist. I just love that cascade out. So we want the idea of fresh, beautiful falling snow. The branches are just heavy with snow, so they have to cascade out all those big, beautiful textures that just give it interest. And just think, we're just building layer upon layer on this tree. I have even more snowy bushes and textures that I'm going to use. This is a really great little bush. It's called the snowy mint bush. So that's a mint bush covered in snow. And sometimes when I have a deep pocket right here, that's where I'm going to pull those cascade lights out so I can put them back on top. I'm going to stick that bush deep in there, just like that. So that gives me a nice little texture of something very different on this tree. So all I've added so far are the branches and all the different bushes and picks, because that's the base. And then once we get the base settled, we're going to start with all of our ornaments. And we'll start with the big ornaments, sticking them nice and deep into the tree, and then coming out with the finishing touches that'll be on the very tips and the ends of our branches. As I find that I have a little bit of holes in my tree or areas that are a little bit sparse or maybe even darker and I want to add some light, bringing in this little mint leaf bush that's flocked is a great way to lighten that up as well. Let's talk about specialty picks. When you have a specialty pick like this, you're going to use it sparingly. You're not going to take this and use it all over because this is like a focal point in your tree. But I love this because it already comes with the icicles on it. So look at that. It's heavily crystallized, has the icicles already on it. This is called the icicle spray. I love just how icy this is. It's a nice, sturdy, strong branch. 6 crystals on it. But I never just stick this pick in by itself like this. I'm going to layer it with something else. So when I layer those two, you're not going to just see the icy branch by itself. It's just going to kind of grow out of the tree with the icicles from the bottom. I love this leaf. When I went to market and I saw this on a tree, I was like, oh my gosh, give me hundreds of these, because I used to have a pick like this and I used it all of the time. This looks great in icy. It looks great in any kind of tree, just to bring in a frosted green leaf. And I love the air and the space between all of the branches and the leaves that it gives you. And I also love that each one of these is actually wired on here and wired into place, so you can move this and manipulate this however you want. So look how full all the coverage that's going to give you on a tree. This pick is only $8.99, and it's called the glitter hydrangea leaf, and it just will spray and really spread into your tree really nicely. So I'm going to take this pick just like this, literally plop this one on top right here. That's that glittered hydrangea leaf. I'm going to make sure I spread out this branch really nice, but to keep this branch all together, I'm going to take the very end of this pick and I'm just wrapping it around just like this, because it's nice and wired. and that's going to hold and make that branch look like it is as one. So see how pretty that's going to be. This kind of camouflages the top, so just you see this really pretty crystal growing out. Now you still see all of those crystals on the branch. I'm not totally hiding it, but again, it's just kind of one of those specialty branches that you're going to stick out. You're not going to use a ton of these on your tree. I'm going to say on this tree I'm going to use maybe 6. I have one right up here, and again, you think about the triangle shape. I think this is a really good branch. It's right here, focal point, front and center, and I already have lots of greens over here. So I'm going to take this branch, it's all together still, and I'm going to try to see if I can work that in right here. Just taking that pick and working it all the way into that branch. And I want to stick it in, but not too far, because I want those pretty icicles to hang right out at the end of this branch. So I'm going to try to see if I can find 2 of little branches here to secure that too, so it doesn't fall out. And especially here at the store, we don't want someone to pull this out. Like, we want this to have some staying power here. I'm going to bend it down just slightly because people got to get past this. This is going to reach out and grab somebody, but look at that icy effect right here, front and center, that beautiful leaf. It's just a very different leaf, very, very pretty. It's starting to look like a icy, frosty, beautiful tree. It's like this tree was covered in green in springtime, and then overnight the frost just came in and just changed it. Put it right here in the front focal points. Going to bend it up just slightly so those crystals hang out and away really nicely from the tree. That's so pretty together. Now to add a little glitz to the tree, I'm still working on literally just all of the stems alone, but this tree's got to have a little sparkle. It's called Crystal Frost, so I want to make sure I add just a little bit of glam, and I'm going to do that with this really pretty stem right here that I've got to show you. This beautiful magnolia stem, it's just very heavily jeweled and just has a really thick amount of crystals on this, and it's kind of in the silver coloration, silver colorway. So as you can see, I'm just kind of twisting some of those up to open and out, and these coming down like this. So I'm going to add these in around the tree. I'm just looking for those spots in the tree that just need a little bit of attention. This tree is all about all the different picks. I haven't even counted, maybe I should have, how many different styles of picks we're putting in this tree. But again, this is a showpiece, so we want to display and give you the creative idea. You don't have to fill your tree with this many different styles of picks, but honestly, it adds so much drama and it adds so much texture and color that I love showing this. And so this is something, if you don't know how to bring in different styles of picks, different colors, different textures, this tree is all about that. In fact, maybe we should have just named this video how to just add florals to your tree and nothing else, because honestly, this tree is looking so good with just the florals that we've put in it so far, and I don't even have the flowers in. So this beautiful magnolia leaf, we have used this years after years, and it's goes well with just about anything. It could go on our cardinal tree and look beautiful, but I love the coverage that this gives because it has, I mean, these leaves are nice and wide and also very glittery and very white. So I'm going to stick these in here, and I'm just kind of rotating where we have these leaves to add another texture, another color. And as you can see, I've kind of bent these leaves just slightly like this to give them just a little bit of curl, because I want them to curl like they would in nature, right? You never see leaves just sticking straight out. You see them curling a little bit here and there. So I'm going to give that just a little curl and let those cascade out and down. And we're going to add several bunches of these around the tree just to add another beautiful magnolia leaf. Next, we're going to work on florals. So we have these beautiful white snow frosted hydrangeas, and I have some really pretty white peonies as well. So I'm going to select a couple of these picks to go in kind of together at one time. So I'm going to go grab me a peony as well. So I'll have a hydrangea and peony together. And I usually like to put these in right next to a big leaf assortment, just like so. So you have that leaf right here that's kind of showcasing out, and then we're going to have the flowers kind of cascading too. I've already put one hydrangea in, and now I'm going to add maybe a peony with it. So I'm just going to look and see how I like this little combination together. I never like to just put one flower by itself. I like to have a little grouping. You can see how that kind of cascades out together. It just makes it showier, and you kind of just have more bang for your buck. So I'm going to go around and kind of do these in a triangle pattern too, right here. So I've got a magnolia right here. I'll look for that to kind of be the base, and I'll add in a hydrangea right there, right with that leaf. And I'm going to come in with my peony spray, and I'm going to put this over here on this side because we've got a lot going on the other side here. So I'm going to add this in right there with it. So pretty. Add a hydrangea right into here. I'm going to add my peony right out here on the outside. So it kind of cascades out and down, just like that. Keeping with my trend, glittered allium spray. Allium, I think that's how you say it. I'm going to add this. This is so cute because there's two. You get two little punches of this, all green and glittered. Really, really cute stem. And we're going to add these in for the extra little kick. All right, some beautiful pine cones. Look at this. I love this pine cone branch because it is very heavily frosted and it just sparkles, but it has so many pine cones on it as well. This is going to look very natural, but also frosted coming out. It's going to give us some more of those brown textures that we want as well. So I'm going to add this next. This cute little green moss pick. Look at this. Now these are fun because we actually sell these a lot in spring as well, but you can carry them over into winter. Now you can notice that a lot of times what I put in is all kind of centered around some of the same collection, around those flowers. Around the flowers is where I really typically heavily populate a lot of my different textures because it's all one focal point. And I'm not going to add a lot of ornaments to this focal point. My ornaments are going to go under here and around. So that's why I make such a large bouquet with so many different textures right there together in one cluster, because that's going to kind of be left alone, not heavily ornamented like the rest of the tree will be. Okay, so now I think we're finally at that point where I'm ready to start adding ornaments. Let's start with the big guns first. I have these big, beautiful pine cones. Look at this. These are gold. Actually, it's kind of a champagne, but they call it a gold glittered pine cone. And what I do on ornaments like this, you're not going to place these all over the tree. You're just going to have a few focal points. And I take the strings and I just put them inside each other like this, and I'm going to secure that right into the tree. And of course, this is going to go more towards the bottom of the tree. So I'm going to take this and place it right in here where they're just kind of cascading out of my tree. I have the large gold pine cones placed now, and I just had a few of them, so there's not too many. Now I'm going to start with my larger ornaments, like this beautiful glittered ball. I love this because it's going to add white to the tree, which I really, really want. And then also, I love that it's shatterproof. So these shatterproof ornaments you can drop and they usually will not bust. Now, I've had one or two bust on me before, but I also dropped it from a very high ladder on a concrete floor. So, but typically they're really strong and very durable too. And look at the glitter on this. Isn't that pretty? So I'm going to just place this right into my tree. Basically, on these larger ornaments like this, I'm going to put them a little bit deeper into the tree, just right in here, so that we have the appearance of an ornament in our tree. And a lot of times you don't even have to really secure those. You can just kind of place them inside, and the tree itself will just hold on to that ornament for you. So I'm going to start by placing all of those white larger ornaments around the base. Now I'm going to add this beautiful textured silver beaded ball. And what I love about this one, it kind of has a real vintage feel. It's almost like glass glitter, where it's real super sparkly and beautiful. That's going in to add some light and some sparkle. This is kind of an inside ornament also. It's not something I'm going to hang on the very tip of the tree. I want it to be visual and you to be able to see it, but it's not a major focal. The major focals are going to be my clear and my colored ornaments. Now these pine cones are gorgeous. Look at that, very heavily jeweled, beautiful white, and they're a little bit heavy as well. But this is another one of those ornaments that I'm going to cluster together, and I do want this to show. So I'm going to pick really prominent spots for these little pine cone clusters to go on my tree. One really great place for this would be right here on top of this green, because there's so much volume of green. To add these 2 pine cones right here will really make them pop and really make them stand out. So I'm going to place that right there on top of that cedar. And it's important to remember too, on the ornaments in your tree, you're going to have some ornaments that hang and some ornaments that cascade. So you don't want all of your ornaments doing the exact same thing in your tree. I'm adding all of the ornaments, and I'm going to add these beautiful iridescent silver kind of a swirl ball. This ball is called Mercury Glass 6-inch. So these are my larger 6-inch ornaments. And of course I want some of those glass ornaments to really come out to the outer edge. And I'm going to wire them in as well. So I'm using some wire around the edge. And I'm going to twist that really good because I don't want that to come off and come crashing down on the floor if someone brushes or bumps my tree. So I'm going to wire that and stick it right in here. I'm going to stick it right here. And I really want to showcase this at the edge of the tree. Okay, now coming to some ornaments that are not necessarily specialty, but they're a little bit more unique in the shape. You want to have different shapes on your tree. If every single one of your ornaments is just a round ball, it's going to be really basic and boring. So I recommend some onion shape and this shape, which is teardrop, and this has a little crackle texture. So it's going to give it a little bit even more like spun, wintry, icy look to it. So don't forget, it's not just about textures, it's about shape and shine. And the shape is very important. So you want to add some teardrops to your tree as well. Now for those specialty ornaments that are going to add the pop of color. This ornament, it's kind of hard to tell right now, but it's green. This is where one of the ornaments that I'm going to draw the color in on the tree. Now, of course, the tree is already green and we have a lot of green stems and we've added the white, but this is my pop of color along with a couple of other green ornaments to really make this pop. Now, this is where you could change. If you wanted to do this exact tree but add in red, that's totally acceptable on this tree. If you wanted to do this whole tree and just keep it clear and white, you could do that. Adding gold would be beautiful. Adding brown and just keeping it very natural and neutral would be gorgeous. Adding blue would be absolutely stunning on this tree. But I've selected green, and I'm also going to come back in with green ribbon on the end. So here we go. These ornaments want to be more towards the outside of the tree so that it really sparkles and it gives you the whole concept of, all right, this tree is green and white, right? This is the pop of color. These go towards the outer branches, and let me show you what I mean by that. So just like this, when you're looking in, you can see that pop of green right there on the tree. That's just going to make this tree really sparkle and stand out. I'm still adding more color in with these really pretty green ornaments like this, but I don't want to go too deep because I really want that green to really show on the outside here. So I'm just going to take this and add it to a branch right inside here and secure it since it's a little bit heavier. That green is really adding everything to this tree. And what about this? Look at this ornament. It's a really pretty woven ornament with that texture, but then it has these rhinestones which makes it sparkle. So this is the perfect ornament for our crystal frost tree. Look at that. It's going to be so beautiful. So what I'm doing with this moss garland is I'm sticking one part into the tree and securing it to the tree, and then I'm kind of letting it cascade out and away. You don't want to lay it flat to your tree because this is all about adding dimension. So I'm going to take this, secure it into the tree by wrapping some branches around it, and then I'm going to really try to bubble it out and away. Imagine it coming out and away from the tree as much as possible, and then going right back in. And I'll show you what that looks like here in just one second. I am almost finished with this tree, but let me just show you the last few things that I've been doing here. I've got the moss on, which is looking beautiful, and I just took those moss branches, and I'm just going to flip this camera around real quick so I can show you what I've done here. So what I do with the moss branches, I start right here, and it's all wired, you see, and I just took it and I just bent it out so that there's air and space here away from the tree, and then I tucked it back in. So that's what you're going to do. You're just going to make loops out and away from your tree so that your guests who are admiring your tree can see that moss branch out and away in loops. And then I went and added these little birds as a finishing touch. So you see that layer of green moss adds a dark green to this tree. And it's much needed because before it was very white and light, and that's fine if you want to keep it that way. Some of you are going to like that better, but I like all of the shades of green and the depth that this gives. So it's called Crystal Frost because really my mind was crystal forest. Basically, it's woodlands meets glam because I love the woodland look. I love all of the greens. I love all the natural, but I also can't help but love the glam. And not only that, we have different wood textures. One of the finishing touches is going to be adding these glittered magnolia picks. Look at this little stem. Now, sometimes clip-ons are a great way to really bring a floral all the way out to the end of a branch. So I love those very, very much. And then also we have this beautiful laser cut nativity, which is really cool as well. So we've added that, another touch of wood here to the tree. So you can see it's woodland meets glam, and I am just loving it. I think all the neat textures. This is definitely a wow tree, a showstopper that's just going to make you think, oh my gosh, I would have never have thought of that. Okay, here's my stopping point for tonight. It's after hours working. It's time to go home and finish this beauty off tomorrow. So I'm going to go home, get some rest, and I'm going to come back tomorrow with a fresh new look, add finishing touch ornaments, and then also finish it off with some beautiful ribbon. All right, now we have the tree completely decorated. All of the ornaments are on, all of those thousands of picks are on, and we're gonna finish with the icing on the cake, and that is our beautiful ribbon. So since this is the Crystal Frost tree, I wanted to have some white velvet with this beautiful jeweled trim. Then I have this beautiful green velvet because that's the color of our tree. And then we're gonna go in with this little small, really sparkly gold ribbon as well. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna make a bow for the top, and then I'm gonna show you how to make just some small little tucks of ribbon throughout the tree to just put in some accents. This tree doesn't need a whole lot of ribbon because we have so much stuff in it, but still, ribbon is like the frosting, so we want to have some sparkle, we want to have the ribbon and that softness. We're going to put a few more little tucks and bows in throughout the tree to make it look even more amazing. Okay, we've already made our big huge bow for on top of the tree, and if you'd like to see an instructional video on how to make the bow, you can head over to our bow making video, which we will link right here. But now I'm going to make some little tucks is what I call them, and they're just like a little half bow that just tuck into your tree and look amazing with a big long tail, which you can kind of loop in and out. So let me show you how I do that. Now, I'm not one of those designers who measures everything out to make sure that's all symmetrical, and I just kind of go by the feel of it. But a little tuck bow is basically where you're just going to take the first loop, which is your thickest ribbon right here, and I'm just making a little tuck right here. I'm just going to take that, and I'm literally just going to hold that one loop right there in my hand, just like this. Then I'm going to come down about a yard or so. I'm going to fold this over, and I'm going to cut my little dovetail right in here just like this. You got to cut through those rhinestones too, which isn't easy. Then I'm going to come in with my 2.5 inch, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm just layering it. So I'm going to take that little piece right here, make a little loop just like this. And then on this one, I want this one just to be slightly longer than my first one, and I'll show you why we're going to do that. You know, just about maybe 4 inches or so longer. And I'm going to just dovetail that same way. Okay. And then last, I'm going to do a little tuck of this. This is my little beaded trim ribbon, but I'm going to leave a little tail out over here on this side like this. Then I'm just going to make one little tuck right here, just exactly the same way. And then I'm gonna let this come out even further. I would take this about 6 to 8 inches past my other ribbon marks, as you can see there. So we have 3 kind of lengths here. All right, the base is the shortest one, then the 2.5 inches a little bit longer, then this little threaded ribbon here is even longer yet. I'm gonna take a zip tie. I have black zip ties here with me, but I would probably encourage you to use white because it would show up less. I'm gonna zip that around this little bow, or people call these sometimes ribbon bouquets when you make it like this. I'm gonna put a, oops, just like this. Okay. There we go, nice and tight. So this is what I'm gonna use to attach it to the tree. I'm gonna clip that little piece off right there so we don't see that in the tree. And then we're gonna go put it in the tree. You ready? Let's do it. So this is gonna end up looking like this in the tree. As you can see, it just looks like a little half bow. And the reason why I need the first layer to be shorter is because you poof out the second layer just a little bit more, and so it takes a little bit more ribbon to do that. Then the third layer, you want to poof out even more away from the tree. So just think, you don't want everything to be flat to the tree. You want it to have life and space and air between it. So that's why you're going to do that. So I'm just going to take in, and wherever I kind of feel like there's a natural spot in my tree that needs a little bit of ribbon, I'm just going to add this in. So let's start right over here with this. I have my bow up here up top, and I've got a leading tendril kind of coming down. And then I just noticed that I have a spot right here. I think maybe we sold an ornament already out of this tree this morning, as I just finished this tree last night, and Ben was helping me with the top this morning. I think somebody might have grabbed an ornament here, but that's okay. They made a little blank spot, and I'm just gonna use that spot right there to put my ribbon in, because it's like the perfect spot for it. So I'm just gonna come in here, take my zip tie, and I'm just gonna attach this ribbon to the tree. So I'm grabbing a piece, I don't know if you can see that with the greenery, and I'm gonna put my bow right there, literally zip tying that to the tree. And because our tree is all wired, I can move that around if need be after I get that zip tied in there. Zip tied, I'm gonna take my bow, face it outwards like this. Okay. I'm just gonna make a real pretty loop here with this. Then I'm gonna take my tails. Okay. Hang on a second, I gotta move some stuff around here and finagle just a little bit. Let's finagle this way. There we go, that looks a little bit better. All right, I'm gonna take my tails, and here's my bottom layer, my base layer. I'm gonna move my green layer up just a little bit. See, I'm creating some air and space. And then I'm gonna do that exact same thing with the gold layer as well. So they all have space in between them. I'm gonna take, and I'm gonna pinch this right about here. I'm gonna come into my tree, find some wire right down in here. So there's a piece of my tree wire, and I'm just literally wrapping that around, just like so. And I'm gonna let that tail come out right over here. Here's my little tail that I cut. I'm gonna just wrap that around right here. And I'm gonna come over here and poof this bow up, because I want this to look real cute up in here. I'm gonna just poof that up. And here is where our ribbon is just gonna be coming and trailing out of our tree. I'm having it trail out right here. And then this long piece that I have here, maybe I'll just take it and have it kind of going rogue over here by itself. Just tucking it into the tree, using a piece of the actual tree to wire it, and just have it cascading out. So I like the ribbon, just like I like the leaves and all of the ornaments, to look like they're just kind of cascading out. I don't love everything perfectly placed. I love it to have a little bit of free form. Like sometimes I'll even just take the ribbon and I'll just do like a little curl like this, so that the ribbon actually looks like it's just cascading out of the tree on its own. See how you do just like this? Doesn't that look cute? So that's how you put ribbon into the tree. Thank you so much for watching our video. I hope you enjoyed it. This is the Crystal Frost tree. It's at our Utica Square location. And if you love this and want to see more decorating videos, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and follow us. We've got all kinds of things happening this Christmas, and I hope next time my voice will not quite sound like this. I'm a little bit sick, so I'm just trying to work through some crud that I've had for the last 3 weeks. But it's Christmas time, and there's no time to be sick, no time to stop, because we got to keep on rolling. So let me know what you think about the tree. So the question of this video is, tell me, this is crystal frost. There's 2 ways you can go with this tree. You can either make it super crystally and even more teardrops and even more crystals to the tree, or you could make it go more woodland. So I want to hear from you. Should I take this tree more woodland, or should I take it more spectacular and crystally? Crystally? I don't even know if that's a word. Do we want more rhinestones, or do we want more cedar and wood and I don't even know what other kind of picks? Let me know what you think, woodland or crystal.